So my name is Astrid Lillen. I work at the Norwegian Radiation Protection Authority, and for the moment I am also doing a PhD on the societal consequences of nuclear accidents. I was lucky enough to have the visit of the Iraqi and Itaate people coming to Norway in September this year, and also with Ryoko 2 years ago. And this is the fourth time that I participate here in the dialogue seminars. And I will not report specifically only on the visit that was taking place in September, but more generally what we feel are the values of people-to-people visits in general. NRPA has been engaged in several occasions of people-to-people visits, or let's say meetings, where we let local people speak of their experiences and their views about living in a contaminated area. So it started back in 2004 when we had a group of French people coming, which was organized by Jacques Clochard, where different, let's say, local and national governments in France and non-governmental organizations and local monitoring laboratories came to Norway to learn and understand what it is to live in a contaminated area. And they were using this experience to develop preparedness programs in France for a long-term contamination situation. And then we had local Belarusian veterinarians and food monitoring personnel that came to visit in 2006. And then the people from Fukushima coming in 2012 and 2014. And local Norwegian farmers and reindeer herders and local monitoring personnel has also participated in different meetings or visits to other countries, both to France in 2005 and 2007, and Belarus in 2010, and then lately to Fukushima, both in 2013 and then in May 2014. It's important to understand that there are different approaches to how you conduct meetings, based on whether you are there as an authority or whether you are just being a facilitator for the people-to-people meetings. If I go out to have a meeting with somebody and I come from the authority, I would go there with a specific agenda. I have certain topics that I need to discuss, and I don't really move out of that topic. So I come there with a specific purpose, we discuss that, and I go home. And I have not asked them if there is anything else they would like to address. But when we have these people-to-people visits, the NRPA is just there as a facilitator. We can organize it, we can support it, but it's the people who meet that should discuss. And then you have an open discussion about all different aspects of the situation you're living in. So you don't come with an agenda, you just want to go there and listen to the people and hear their challenges and their views, and any questions are welcome. So this is an important distinction between the traditional authority meetings and the people-to-people visits. And the learning points from these people-to-people visits are many. We have heard from Ryoko Ando and the other people who came to Norway to visit what their experiences were. Now I would like to present what is the gain in all this for me coming from the authority. And first of all, if you go to an area where people are living in a contaminated situation, you learn about their reality. So you can see what the nature is like where they are living. You can hear what they do for a living, what is the family situation, how is the community there, what is their culture, and you get a very good impression of how is their everyday life and what are their struggles. So these are some photos from the trip with the Japanese in September. And you can see these mountainous areas we have in Norway and what the production of local foodstuffs, how people are living, and it gives everybody an impression of what we're dealing with, because it's rather different. Norway is rather different from Japan in many senses. You can learn about then the animal husbandry practice and the production methods. So we see here how they have the sheep that they are measuring here. So this is the measurement of the live sheep and deciding whether it can be slaughtered or not. We see here the cheese production of Svein Håknes, who was here visiting also earlier, and we have here, this is the young farmer that Miss Kanno was talking about, the 30-year-old farmer, who is having dairy cows. And here we are visiting a farmer who has sheep and goats, and he is showing us the pelleted feed they are using for the goats. One is without and one is with Prussian blue. You can hardly see any difference of it, but he knows the difference, and he's feeding most of the animals with Prussian blue and a few ones without, because he wants to compare to see the effect of the Prussian blue when you add it to their feed. And it has proven the Prussian blue to be very effective in reducing the uptake of radiocesium in the animals, up to 80% reduction. But also an important part is that you meet with the local people, and then you can discuss whatever you like. You can just discuss about the risk, the perception of the radiation, how has they had any cooperation with the authorities, is it working, is it not working, what about the compensation, how is it that this done in your country, is it working, is it not working. So this is a reindeer herder who has been doing measurements and countermeasures ever since 1986. So we visited where he is living, and we could have a discussion then. The Japanese group could come with the questions they liked concerning how he did overcome the problems of the Chernobyl accident and what his attitude towards it is today. And for most farmers and reindeer herders in Norway, the extra countermeasures and monitoring necessary has become part of their daily practice. So this is the standard way of doing farming and reindeer herding now in Norway in the contaminated areas. You do this as part of your normal practice, and this is why it is also not perceived as a stress or an anxiety anymore. This is the new normality for the people living here. And this is Mr. Sato, who was kind enough to accommodate the Norwegians who were visiting in May to tell about how his production of livestock is, and also what the situation is like in Fukushima at the moment. It's true that when you come and you meet with the local people and you see what they're doing and you discuss with them, then you learn both from the history, what has worked, what didn't work, but you also can listen to the prospects that they have for the future. And for me, it's interesting to listen to what the people are telling. Both the Norwegian people that we are meeting, because they all have different things to tell, they all have different experiences. But I also learn a lot from the questions that are asked by the people who visit them. So this time from the Japanese people who come and visit. When I listen to their questions, I get a perception of what are their challenges, what are their concerns. And as you heard, we had very, very long drives across the Norwegian nature. and it made us have the time then in the car to discuss a lot. So I had lots of questions about how things are in Japan, and they had lots of questions for me about how things are in Norway, and of course most of it I could answer, but not everything, because when they, for instance, started asking me how is the fishing industry in Norway, it was a little bit difficult for me as a non-expert to know everything. But we had lots of interesting discussions about Japanese society, Norwegian society, and of course also related to the radiation situation. And it's very interesting because you learn something new every time. So every time I go on one of these visits, or we have people coming to Norway, I learn something new. And it's because people have different perspectives. So everybody has their experience, they have something new to tell. But there is also some perspectives that are more universal and shared between the people. So it's interesting, you know, every time to see if there is something new coming up, or if people have some of the same experiences as we know from other countries or from earlier. And I show you this photo because I think it's really interesting. It's when we visited the reindeer herding. So they were gathering the thousands of animals into these fences, and we were going to look at how they were doing monitoring. And then the Japanese people visiting, they climbed up here on the fence, and they were sitting there like cowboys, watching what was going on. And we were lucky enough also to go inside and to stand really, really close and look at how they did this monitoring of the reindeer. So it was very interesting. So I think that these kind of visits will enlarge your perspective of the world, because you learn about new culture, of course, and you share your concerns with somebody, which is also relieving in a sense, that you can discuss what you would like and to have some kind of good discussion. And certainly you would get ideas for how to do things differently, and also ideas for new fields of cooperation. It is also a way of showing solidarity between different groups that has an experience or a challenge to meet. And of course then you get new friends and acquaintances. And it's true both within and between the countries. So I would really like to point out also is that it's important for authorities to understand that the reality for people is what is going on in their home community. And that's why you need to go there and listen to the people to understand their challenges. And also, together with them, try to find out what are the possibilities for improving the situation where the people live. And we feel that people-to-people visits where we are facilitators helps us in this task. Ms. Khanna said that in the beginning she thought that people said that they trusted the government because I was there as one of the participants. And that could of course have been the truth. But in the meetings we have like this, it's very open to everybody to express their feelings. And in some instances they will come with a critique towards what was done by the authorities back in 86, 87, or even later. So it's clear that as a representative of the authorities, you need to be humble when you go on these visits. So you're not there to promote whatever your organization has done or is doing. You are there to listen to what is going on and to facilitate the dialogue between the people from the different countries. But this really helps the authorities in understanding what is the challenges for the people, what you need to address, really, from the governmental side as well. So I just want to thank you all for letting us take part in the dialogue seminars that we've been doing many times. times. It's been very, very valuable. We've learned a lot from that. And also the people-to-people visits where we had the chance to talk to each one and to ask a lot of questions and sort of dig into what is the mentality, what is the rationality between all the things that is going on. And hopefully we can continue our cooperation between Fukushima and